The microphone's not on. I just turned the microphone on.
By the six packs.
Oh,
Can you hear me now?
that's the perfect.
John, everybody wants to see you, John. You need to be front and center.
The microphone is on.
Try one. There you go. I grab a chair there.
Oh.
No.
Oh, yeah, well,
Okay.
he has an extra way.
Okay.
How are you gonna know what to
Alright, cool.
say?
Yeah, I think I got audio there.
You're right.
Well, yeah, or else
Okay.
she can't reach you
Or
with her
when to
elbow,
shut
would you
up.
say something?
Okay, bye.
I know I brought my
Hi,
jacket.
Bob.
Hey.
I'm good, how are you doing? You look like you fattened up a little bit.
Batten
Oh,
up.
well, you better go to
That's
Dagger.
not a very nice
We
compliment.
gotta get some meat
Where's
on
the
those
compliment?
bones.
127 pounds.
Whoa, hey,
Gained 27 pounds.
bringing wet?
That's
You
what you
gained?
No,
He
that's
weighs
the way,
127.
127.
Now.
Oh, I thought you were. That's
One
hey, Matt.
27. I don't think I've ever weighed that.
My right leg went there.
Hi. Hi.
Thank
How are
you.
you? Oh, were they good? I did a lot too.
Is the snake that close to the ground? They were so good. You ate some too?
I ate a
Those were
lot.
for me.
You ate a lot. Let's see, where is Cheryl?
So what's new, Carla? What's up?
Well, I don't have anything to say for myself. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. Cash.
I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Who was
Wow.
causing trouble at 2 o'clock in the morning the other day when there was a fire truck here? Somebody told me that. Steve. Told there was a fire truck.
Old Steve?
Steve?
Old
That-
Steve?
Not old Steve Manager
New
Steve. that New Steve.
I don't know new Steve.
And I said, who told you that? And he said, I don't know.
What night was
I
that?
said, what did they look like? That's my only comment about that.
Oh.
Do we need to switch management companies? I mean, has that ever been brought up, or, I mean, they've been here forever, right?
Many times that I was on board it was, but.
Really?
I think I
just
heard
wondered.
Nancy and Dan Harris say.
I wondered about if
They were,
we should
that's-
switch management
Lynn.
companies.
Where's Lynn?
Hi, Lynn.
Yeah, that's a
Nice
good
to see
topic
you.
on board.
They drove, right? Everywhere.
There's, yeah. Wow. I guess there's so much driving.
There's Cheryl, I bet.
Gordon.
Gordon.
He had that
Here,
surgery
so much.
and he's,
I eat them
Must
all.
be fit.
still
I eat them
in
Gordon.
pain, so
If you need more, let me know.
Oh,
he
thank
stays pretty
you.
close to home, so he's not coming in today.
Is that Mike?
There's some
No, it's
good
Howard.
chairs.
That is Mike.
I did recognize you, Mike. Hey, how are
Hey
you?
guys, good.
Good, good,
Wow,
good.
it's nice to see so many people.
I know.
Yeah, there's Cheryl.
That was Cheryl.
Got the president.
Boss lady, blow her out.
Yeah.
We're waving at everybody. that-
The first lady.
The first lady. There's Rick.
No, Gordon's the first man.
That's right.
He's the president.
Yes.
The way it's always been at the other, yeah. I mean, that's the way most hospices do it.
Right.
And that's why we have the dedicated pharmacy line, and even when Maureen was here. she said we need to-
I have no idea.
Joe Park.
Joe Park.
I muted him.
Joe Park,
Is he a resident?
uh-huh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, really nice. He's from
You
Princeton,
should
Illinois.
mute everybody.
Yeah, they're muted, except
Is
for
Gordon coming?
Cheryl,
That is not.
Gordon, and
Ken
Lynn.
was on a minute ago.
Well, they're down there at the bottom, aren't
Just had to go back.
Where?
they? Well, you didn't sign out, his name
She's
should
going on a
be
road
up.
trip.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Greg who? Jay?
You're going, or you're
Hear me now, Michelle?
Yes, I can, Leonard.
Where you
All
going?
right, thank you.
Michelle?
You're going
is
to
Mark
that.
coming? Barbara coming?
What's that?
You gotta learn to
You
like
need to go for that.
What is that?
Oh, I think her car. I think she's on her way. Her car, I think, is right there.
roadkill and put them in.
Oh, oh my God, I don't need
They
to
do
do
it
that.
in, it's like a stew,
Oh,
a
oh,
roadkill stew.
they
Beer-
clean
beer
up
and
the
everything?
roads?
I think, I've never eaten it.
Oh my God.
Who would?
That guy.
It's from John's hometown too.
Really?
Well,
Yeah.
That must be an Illinois thing.
Yeah.
No, it's only that part of the world.
Oh.
Pretty localized. There we go.
Okay.
We got everybody.
Barbara, I think just pulled in. She should be here any second.
Oh, right on time.
Yeah, oh, she's getting out of her car.
Now she's tripping on her brick.
Yeah.
Notify the attorneys.
Thank you, Michelle. I don't know if you did it, but somebody got our elevator working. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, we called Otis.
Yeah, they were in
Which,
today.
they were down again this morning.
Really?
The center one was. for a
Oh,
while.
was it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's one they're coming back, number
3.
3. Yeah, they're coming back tomorrow.
Are we
Something
one or
is.
two?
You are 4.
We're four.
This is 1, 2,
Oh, one.
3, and then
So
you're
it goes
4.
this way around, backwards.
Yeah.
And to that end, Michelle, thank you so much to your whole entire
Oh,
family.
yeah, I'm glad they were here.
Yes, they were, they cleaned out the whole thing.
They got a good
Thank
workout.
goodness.
Yeah, but they did.
I
5
know.
inches of water in the garage.
Yeah, that's, thank goodness.
They were
I
awesome,
remember, but
over and above.
I'm glad they were here.
Glad you were too.
And John was.
Yeah, I walked earlier in the morning, because it's about 15 degrees cooler.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
I go, like,
Here she comes. She's walking. We could start without her if you want, Cheryl.
I was waiting. I don't see Rick on yet.
Rick's on.
Rick is on.
He's there
Oh, he is? Oh,
somewhere. There he is.
Right next to you.
right next.
You don't even know it.
Look to your left.
Yeah.
Look to your left. I like it.
I'm sorry. I can't see everyone on here, but
Yeah, it's the view option.
okay.
Oh, there's Vicky.
Okay. Well, I will call the meeting to order. I know it is 3:32, so I confirm a proper notice of meeting. Yes, we had that. And roll call, quorum, I see that we have all members of our board here. And approval of the minutes. At this time, I'd like to call for a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
So moved.
Ken O'Rennick is motioning that so moved, I assume, Ken. Can you hear me, Ken?
Let me unmute him. Or he can.
I can't. Sorry.
Can you
So
now?
moved. Okay. And do I hear a second to that?
Second.
Okay, seconded by Michelle. All those in favor of approval of the minutes, please signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, minutes have been approved. So we'll move to the reports of officers. And really, the main thing I have today is just to enormously thank Michelle and Matt and their family for their efforts at ensuring that with our flooding that we had on Saturday evening, that I know I saw videos of them sweeping well into the night, cleaning out the garage, and on top of it, calling fire restoration. So we do appreciate those efforts. The board is in the process of investigating why it happened. I think there's several possibilities. One, of course, I know Leonard is looking into the company that just installed some backflow valves in our pipe system, which was done, I think, maybe a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago. So the other the other thing, it has happened 2 or 3 times in the history of our building that the drains from the roof have overflowed into the garage. And the fact that Michelle told me that the water was clear with no debris or anything, kind of indicates that that could be a possibility. I know it happened, I forget how many, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and some of the garages have drains where it gurgles up into the garage, and especially after a sudden rain. So we're exploring, we'll try to find out why this happened and report back to you when we know. So again, thank you to all. I think there were others that helped too. Is that correct? Yeah.
Cheryl, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Leonard. What would you like to add?
I've spoken with Larry. He's the guy at PRS that they did the installation. And the actual person that did the installation, his name's Brandon. I spoke with him today. He's supposed to come out and re-inspect the installation, make sure it's installed properly, make sure there's nothing hindering the trap door of the valve from closing properly, maybe via the hydrojetting that we had soon after, or any other rationale. He said there is that one possibility where there could be a line coming in to the drain that they were unaware of because it's not on the blueprints. And if that's the case, then it could have come from another source, which is what you're talking about with the roof, or they were speculating upon the area out near the pool. But that's the last thing. We didn't think that was possible before because there wasn't anything on the plans that showed any other pipe intruding into the garage other than those 2 main drains. So they're going to look into all that and try to see why that would happen.
Okay, great. Do we know when they may come, Leonard? Or
Brandon's supposed to call me back today and tell me exactly when he's coming. He was indicating it was going to be very soon.
Okay.
It was going to be himself.
Okay, great. Okay, so as I said, and then Gordon and I will be there next Monday for 2 weeks. So hopefully we'll be able to, I know, speaking for Gordon, who is on and could speak for himself, but but I often speak for him. So anyway, he is aware of some past occasions where the roof has suddenly flooded into the garage. So we'll also try to meet with the pipe company and see what we can determine from all of this. So anyway, moving on to other Vice President Rick Schlegel, your report, Rick.
Well, I'm going to talk about the shoreline in just a couple minutes, and we will have Jeff Rogers, the senior engineer from Terrell Hall, who's been spearheading this thing for us. But he had a family emergency. He had to pick up a child at school because no one else could. So I expect that he will join us around 4 o'clock. So we will hold off on the bulk of the shoreline discussion and start that at 4. But Jeff will be with us sometime in the next 15 or 20 minutes, I think. So just hang on for that, okay? Thanks.
Okay. All right. Moving on, Treasurer Leonard, do you have a report for us?
Yes. I don't see Barbara there. Is she there, Barbara?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see you now. Okay. Yeah, we don't have yet the complete audited information transcribed into the Bowler accounts yet. Barbara can give you the details, but my understanding is she worked for a day with Lori on that, and they still haven't got that completed. So we don't know the exact numbers where we're at relative to where we ended last year on the audit. Although for the month, everything seems fine. Let me pull them up here. So it says here that for the month, we have our reserves are still at, the Sears reserves are $484,826. We have the non-structural reserves of 228,233. So the totals, they're 719. And then we have, for the month, the net income ended up being 136,000. For the year, we're up 253,000. And that's what's going to get balanced against the amount we were down at the end of last year, which was 300 some thousand. So until we get all the numbers reconciled into the Voller account and up through the month of, say, July, we won't know exactly where we're at, but we're certainly making a big dent in where we appeared to be earlier, based on the fact that, let's see, I gotta get back in the meeting. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, and
Yeah.
Okay.
the issue,
I lost the picture here, but anyway, we're slowly making up some money based on the fact that the insurance was budgeted to cost a lot more than it has. So each month we're making up a little bit on that, but we'll know more as the year goes on, and finally when the things are reconciled, I'll get back with you on exactly where we're at relative to the what do you call it, Barbara?
the audit, you know, and that really, it should be leveling out, because what was the issue at the end of the year is you paid so many bills out that you had from the last storms. And the money has all come in this year, which is offsetting all of that. The auditors just like to look at it.
Particularly in March.
That's right, yeah. So, it should really even itself
Okay,
out once you have the final adjustments that they want done.
Yeah, so we'll get you more information on that, but as far as month to month throughout the course of this year, everything's looking fine.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Leonard. So under old business, we're going to, of course, delay. Is that what you prefer at this time, Rick? If we move
Yeah,
on?
I think if we can cover other things, Cheryl, it'll just
Okay.
it'll just be easier, I
Sure.
think. But that's up to you.
Yes, we'll move on and further down the agenda and come back to you as soon as you give us the sign that Jeff has joined us. So moving to landscape, Lynn, I know I saw you on here, I think somewhere.
I am here. Yes, I am.
Hi there.
Hi. We really should have put Michelle on the agenda for the landscaping, because unfortunately for her, she's been doing all the work these last 3 months that we've been on the road. She's talked to the new Greenscapes guy and got things rolling. The landscaping is always a moving target in terms of things that need to be done. The atrium, Michelle, you jump in anywhere here. You did the walkthrough with. The atrium is a very hostile environment in the summer. It is wicked hot out there, and some of the plants are not doing well, right, Michelle?
Yeah, they're just dry. Yeah.
And so they're recommending swapping out a few of them, and we do have a proposal that includes that.
Yeah, and they're crediting us for those plants too,
Right.
because they didn't survive, so.
And then similar, I'm not sure what happened around the front stairs. They looked great when I left.
Yeah, they were really nice, but they just dried out.
Was it dry? Okay, was it drought? Okay.
Yeah.
At any rate, again, there's a proposal to replace some of those plants.
Yep.
Rearrange some of the Mexican stones, and replace. And again, some of that is under warranty also. Correct.
It is.
And then the last thing on the list would be the restaking, and we've restaked those Vera Woods out along the drive, but that is like a wind tunnel out. But we're going to put sturdier stake, correct?
They're called duckbill anchors. They're larger, more sturdy staking system that they're recommending for those. So we don't have to call them out every time, and they looked a little damaged from the last couple
And once they finally get their drainage, they should be fine. It is a wind tunnel through there.
Yeah.
But thank you, Michelle, so much. In addition to sweeping water and everything else, you've done a great job with it.
My pleasure.
It is your pleasure,
Right.
right?
Yeah, so, yep.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you, Lynn and Michelle. And Michelle, I realize I forgot to ask you if you had a report as far as secretary.
Not really,
Okay.
no. Andy
Okay.
has a question.
Yeah, can I just ask a question? When I go out in the morning, the landscape lights, as I'm
Yes.
walking out the driveway, on the left side
Yes.
are working, but the right side,
Yes, so
No.
they were back today. They had to replace a GFI outlet.
okay,
Yeah, and hopefully that will solve the problem. I'll check it tonight
okay.
and make sure they're
I
both
just
on.
wondered if anybody
Yeah,
else
those are,
noticed.
yeah,
And when you have a lot of rain, the GFIs are
Yes.
always shutting down
Yes.
outside lights.
tripping, he calls it, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll check it tonight.
I should change time on that.
Any other questions about landscape? Okay, seeing none. Michelle, you're up again with a long list of grounds items. It's been very busy over the summer at the Mirage, really with some maintenance and some new projects. And fortunately, Michelle has handled a lion's share of them, although, so,
Sorry. The spa, the heater has been corroded and it's gonna be replaced on Thursday, by Gulf Shore Pools, who does our pool maintenance. A new pool sign is on the way. There's just a little correction from the Florida state regulations on the sign. And we have 2 air conditioners that need to be replaced. One in the lobby is 25 years old. And then one in the elevator hydraulic room behind the water wall is 10 years and it's at its life stage. We have quotes for those. And then 2 separate companies quoted us for those. And then the other lobby air conditioner that does the workout room, the coil went bad, so that was replaced, covered under warranty, but we had to pay for labor. And now the workout room is really better.
Cool.
Yeah, much better. What else? The paving's been done, the striping, new backstops have been put in. There are some scarring on the asphalt, and I talked to Boness about it today, and they said that's common. It has to settle the asphalting, so hopefully it will cure quickly. What else? I think that was it.
I have a question, Michelle.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be possible that any of that asphalt got in on any of those drains? to
No,
cause
I
them,
don't think so. They hydrojetted last week and got a lot of
I
the
just
silt
thought
out.
kind of the
Yeah.
timing kind of sounded
Yeah,
like
I
it might
know.
have
I
all
thought about
happened.
that too, but no. Oh, we did get a new grill. So we have the grill from last year, I believe, and then another new one. And it's great. And they put back the picnic tables and the cutting stations. New poles out there, yellow protective poles. Looks nice. Go ahead.
I have one question.
Yeah.
You know where they dug out on the asphalt, there's 4 spots. They really are unsightly around each one of them. It looks like they kind of poured concrete and then walked through it. And I just wonder if
Maybe you could show me. I'll
yeah,
take pictures.
I got pictures too.
Yeah, okay.
But even the heavy rain isn't washing it off.
No.
So I
Yeah.
don't know if like power washing it would, but it's really unsightly for having our new
Yeah.
asphalt down that looks so good.
You mean like the sandy air? Like,
Yes, it looks
yeah.
like sand, but
It
it's
looks
not.
like dirt.
PRS.
And where's it at?
Here's an example.
I'm not really. Oh, maybe that was the patching from the
Yes, it
check
was the
valves.
patching,
Yeah.
That was the check.
So-
But there's
Yeah.
4 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we could power wash it a little
I don't know if it
and
will come
see.
off. It looks like we'll look at it.
Yeah, we'll
Did
look
we
at it.
replace
Look at it
check
all.
valves? That's something that somebody came up with.
Yeah.
Wow.
They should
Leonard
take
knows
care of it.
about that.
Leonard knows
Yeah.
about it. They were at,
Out of my
Another one.
Yeah, I noticed
I
that
would
too.
think, I would think the paving.
They
company
made
would
that
have
mess.
to-
The
would have-
check
no,
valves
they were
were
done
in-
paving when that was done.
I'm saying the company.
Yeah,
that
they
Well,
did
did
that.
whoever
it,
did it.
yes.
But
Yeah.
then
To fix it.
Bonus came back and patched it.
Right.
So they just don't look. Maybe we have to tar it or something, you know?
Yeah, he said that they kept.
Were those black marks there before Bones came back to patch it?
No,
No, I mean it was black and just the check valve
Yeah.
in the. So after Bones finished patching it, we got the white splotches.
Yeah. It's like a sandy kind of.
it is.
But from my unit, I can see like they got their parking lot done and they kind of have the same kind
Do
of,
they?
yeah, areas. But I
Very
think we should
unfortunate.
power wash.
I think we should try
Yeah.
something.
Black spray paint.
Yeah, right.
Black spray paint. Yeah, that's a good idea, Rick.
And the grill area can't be painted. It was, I think, a cream color before, and it can't be painted until after a year. It has to cure first, so it's the same color as the parking lot now. Just so everyone knows.
Michelle, I had a question about the AC units. I know you've gone ahead, I mean, we have the coil replacement scheduled, is that right?
That's
Yeah.
been done. They were here last week.
Okay, great. Then on the unit that needs to be replaced, I know you got the two quotes. Have you decided, or do you have a recommendation?
Accurate came in cheaper, and they do all the servicing for all the units.
Right.
So I feel like they
Yeah.
are well versed in our building,
So,
and they're cheap.
got recommendations. So if you want to proceed, do you recall the ballpark price on that? Or I was thinking
It was a
7,000 maybe, is that?
Yeah,
Something for that.
per unit. Condi was more accurate. That was an
Here's
old
Accurate.
one, I think. Here's accurate. There's such big estimates. So the one for the lobby is $9,347, and that I'm not sure the tonnage. That is a 3.5 ton, and then the 2.5 for the elevator is, and that has a leak on the roof. 7,810.
Okay, I knew there was one that was 7,000,
Yeah.
but they are recommending we replace both of those.
Totally, yeah, because it's a continuous running machine. It's at its life. It's not worth fixing.
So, I mean, that is slightly over the 15,000. Should we have a vote on that, Barbara? Or
You can have a motion for that, and it'll be a reserve item.
yes. So could I entertain a motion to replace those two units so that we can get that scheduled? Board members? Okay. Rick, did you make the motion? Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. So I'll call for any questions from board members?
No.
Okay, thank you for researching this, Michelle. We appreciate it. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion carried. We will proceed with replacing those two air conditioner units.
Great.
And that, are there any more, are there questions for Michelle, or did you have anything else, Michelle?
No, that was it.
Okay. Any questions on any of those?
Oh.
Hang on.
Hang on, Bob.
Yes, I was grilling the other night, and
Yeah.
of course I forgot about it after I got upstairs. But it seemed like the grill was working fine, and then all of a sudden, it would pop. So I think there could be a leak where gas is leaking.
There was a leak, and they said they fixed it, but I will tell Steve, who's here in the morning, about it.
Okay.
Yeah, he's versed in gas. He has a gas certificate or something for installation or something. I'll tell him. Is it the new grill? Is it the one closest to the building? Okay, that's the new one.
Did you
Thank
say
you.
passes gas?
Yeah.
He passes
Gas
gas.
test.
I will ask him.
Okay. Any other questions? Thanks, Bob. We'll look into that. Any other questions? Okay, moving on to, I had just a few more maintenance issues that, we were anticipating the roping in the elevators in elevator 1. That finally was installed after a year and a half, I think. So that was Otis finally did that. And then we were missing a part to, I think it was elevator 3 that they were waiting on. And that finally came in and they repaired that. And for one brief shining moment, I think all 4 elevators were working. So we almost need a plaque to commemorate that. But now, of course, are we down 3? I'm not there, but.
We're just down 1. They're coming tomorrow. Yeah, number 3 is still down, but the other 2 are back up. So we have 4.
Okay, good. So elevator 3, they're coming tomorrow. Okay, and moving on, the reason the roof is on the agenda is the board members attend monthly meetings during season of MAC, which is Marco Association of Condominiums. And we had a presentation by an insurance company saying that I think it was by the insurance company, anyway, saying it was wise for condominium associations to have their roofs evaluated on an annual basis prior to hurricane season, so that you have documentation for the insurance company in terms of what condition your roof was in prior, if you take a hit in some way. So we did that. We used West Coast Roofing, and the report determined that what they proposed doing was removing all debris from the roof. There is debris on the roof. They want to clean and patch 13 holes and cuts on the roof. They want to remove 32 temp patches and weld new patches there. Remove the old caulk and recaulk 16 areas on conduits and stand legs. And they want to wire brush on the trash tube and install the rust inhibitor and coat. So the total cost for this scope of work is $4,760. The board did agree to, determined that we want to have this done so that the roof is in perfect condition prior to hurricane season. And so I believe that's been scheduled. Is that correct, Barbara?
They're scheduled. Yes, we'll let you know when they're coming out.
Okay, thank you. So that was that. And then electrical was on the agenda because Unit 707 had a lapse in their electrical surge, and their air conditioning went down, their lights went dim. And it was determined by Condi that in the electrical box, first of all, they determined that overall many of the wires in the correct electrical box showed corrosion, but particularly to 707. So they did repair that. That's been repaired. Is that correct? Now that was to take place, I think, last week. So they have done that, but we are in the process of finding a vendor who could give us a report on the condition of the electrical box and what we would need to do to it to ensure that the corrosion is taken care of and that we have, possibly new wiring. So, Barbara, have we found a vendor for that?
Well, Connie can certainly do that for you, but if you you want an independent electrical engineer to look at it too, we can arrange for that. I don't know if you want to go that way or not, but.
Condi has not yet given us an estimate, right? At
No,
least
no,
I haven't seen that. So perhaps that would be our first step. Let's get an estimate from Condi in terms of what they would propose. And then depending on how that, I mean, we technically should probably have an electrical engineer look at it also for a second opinion.
let's see what Condi comes back
Okay.
with.
All right, sounds good.
Hate to interrupt you, Cheryl, but Jeff Rogers is now on the call.
Okay. And then that pretty much, are there any questions in terms of anything I talked about? Okay, seeing none, we'll move directly to Rick now for the presentation on the shoreline project.
Okay, thanks, Cheryl. And Jeff, welcome. I assume you're there. Can we see Jeff anywhere?
Yes.
Oh, you can. Okay, I just don't. Well, I want to thank all the everybody who is there at the Mirage and everybody who's participating by Zoom. This is a good and important discussion, I think. We are fortunate to have Jeff with us now. He is the senior engineer at Terrell Hall, who has been sort of guiding us and helping propel this project to this potential project to this point. Since I'm essentially the warm-up act here for Jeff, I'm going to try to keep my comments short. I just want to recap how we got to this point. You may all recall how many times we've rebuilt the deck and reconfigured and rebuilt and restacked the shoreline since Irma in 2017, Ian in 2022, and probably the ultimate insult in my book, Milton last year, which was, 100 plus miles up the coast, and some of the outer bands came over and hit us and did more than $250 million worth of damage, $250,000 worth of damage to us. The board at that point, this board decided we should convene a committee to look into what we might be able to do to avert future occurrences like this. If there was any sort of level of protection we could entertain that would ward off future storms, particularly like Milton. I don't think we had any illusions that we were going to hold off Irma, and probably not Ian, but something that is more peripheral to the Mirage, but still inflicts a lot of damage, was sort of what we were looking at. And we formed a committee, the Shoreline Committee, that was open to anybody in the building who wanted to participate. 7 people came forward, and those people are, who do we have? Ken? No, Ken's not on that one. It's Gordon, Rick, Carla, Dan Harar. Why am I not remembering the other people? Carla, help me here. Paul Blake is on it. Mike Howard, there he is. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
And Ken and Carla also formed a separate committee to examine what a poolside area would look like if this deck were cleared out again by a storm or some other reason. So they sort of worked in tandem with the Shoreline Committee, and Carla was on both of them. We took a look at the properties near us, and if you've walked along that beachfront area, you'll notice that most of the properties along Caxambas Pass are doing a lot of work on their shorelines to try to build them up. Our immediate neighbors, if you notice, Caxambas got kind of nailed in Ian, and they have put up a pretty impressive barrier of very large riprap stones. And if you look at the 2 pictures that were included with the materials today, the one that shows you Caxambas, you can see the line coming down from their retaining wall down to the Mirage property. It gives you some idea of how much below their property we are. And on the other hand, if you look to the east and look at Ship's Landing, you may recall there's a reason why every time there's a storm approaching that we're concerned about, we move all our cars out and go park them at ships because they are that much higher than we are as well. So we have neighboring properties, and most of the rest of Caxambas Pass are much higher than we are. We're the low people here. So we then spoke with the engineers at Terrell Hall and asked them for ideas and tasked them with submitting drawings and permit applications to the Army Corps and the Florida Department of Environmental Protection for a riprap barrier that would extend out as far as the Army Corps would let us go, 10 feet beyond the mean high water line, and pack that with riprap. Our task as a shoreline committee was to see what we could do to protect the entire shoreline, not just the deck or the pool equipment or the fishing pier, but the whole shoreline from the destructive and eroding forces of waves that come in. We recognize we're not going to do anything to keep water out if there's a huge surge, but to keep the powerful wave force from pulling out our riprap and pulling out the sand and so on. That was really our goal, to protect those parts of the whole shoreline. The drawings that were submitted have been approved by the Army Corps and by Florida. In the process of this, we spoke with 6 marine contractors. We met with 4 of them, and we eventually had bids from 2 of them. A couple of them didn't want to work in Marco, and one of them, Blue Marlin, had their barge sunk as they were working on a building down the street from us. And I only found this out the other day, but Oric Marine, the company that the committee supported and that the board eventually endorsed, had to bring one of their big barges down and pull Blue Marlin's barge up out of the water. So anyway, just a little aside there. We originally were thinking that we would be able to do this entire project by barge, but Marco intervened again and will not let Oric use any open lot or boat ramp on Marco Island to stage the very large rocks that they're going to use. So they're going to have to either truck the rocks down by separate barge from Naples, or use one side of the Mirage property near the current riprap by the fishing pier as a staging area for the big rocks that the barge crane will reach over and lift and install where they're supposed to install them. I'm already getting into Jeff's territory, so I'm going to stop there, and I will simply tell you that in ballpark figures, we finally got indications from Oric. The project will cost, to do the land access project, will cost between $305,000 and $375,000, depending on how much we will have to do in repair afterwards, if any. I don't think we're naive there. We're going to have to replace some sod, and we should be able to remove the irrigation before that and have that replaced, but that'll cost something as well to replace. But all the pile driving that Jeff can talk about and all the rock placement will be done by barge. They can mobilize within weeks of when they get the permit from Marco to do so. And they believe they will be finished within 6 to 7 weeks of start date. So if things move according to how we hope they would move, they will be finished by the end of the year, well ahead of our season. So with that, I'm going to be quiet and let Jeff explain how the project will unfold and what we can hope to gain from this kind of installation, this many tons of rock, and let people, let the other owners ask questions of Jeff. So, Jeff, it's over to you.
Yep. Hey, everybody. For the record, Jeff Rogers with Terrell Hall and Associates, and haven't met most of you, so introduction on Zoom. Very nice to meet you all. But as Rick gave a good overview, of the project and how we got here, it's very. You guys are unique. We're working on Cape Marco right now, helping their shoreline. We did ships right next door to you guys. We redid their seawall. We've helped La Peninsula, which is out on the Marco River, very exposed property, redo their shoreline with reinforcements of riprap and, of course, seawalls. You guys are a little unique in that you're highly exposed, obviously, like those other properties are, but you guys have a little bit of a much shallower shoreline bank, naturally, shoaling, let's call it, out front, which provided us with some, again, a unique opportunity to apply something that we do often with riprap shorelines. We don't have a lot of experience with them doing it out on the open water like you guys are, because water depths typically are too deep to do the piles, where the opportunity of you guys having your beach out front allowed us to look at this idea and consider it and do some calculations, and looking at it and apply it here made sense. And what we do is, just give you a little overview, is we basically take concrete foundation piles, let's call them, usually 10 by 10s, typically 16, 20 feet long. And we basically use a crane on a barge to install them down, jetting them down, and then ultimately using a drop hammer from the crane to get them down to an elevation. And we put those pilings on a 3-foot center, meaning from center of pile to the next center pile, you have a 3-foot separation from each piling. So you guys have a lot of shoreline, so it equates to a lot of pilings, 101 piles to be exact. But what this does is, ultimately, with the pilings that close together, and as Rick said, we're going to propose to use 5-foot toestone rock, limestone rock, which are 5-foot huge rocks, and that's kind of your foundation, the pilings. And then you put these big rocks, wedge them kind of right behind the landward side of the pilings, and get them kind of down below the existing sediment line to create, a little trench, let's call it, for them to kind of sit in. And between those pilings and these large rocks all along the whole shoreline create basically a wall underwater. We've done this application numerous times, just not in this large of exposed area, but the application is still the same and the idea is still the same. Ultimately holding your rock in place, not allowing rocks to slide out into the water further out, as well as provide a wave break situation. These pilings are going to be, as Rick said, I'm kind of jumping around a little bit. We're allowed to go 10 feet waterward of your existing deck / toe of the existing rock. So the new riprap will be about 10 feet out further than the existing rock, and the pilings as well. So that, with the pilings and the large rock building up to, as you build up, we're going to be using larger rock, but it's going to get smaller and smaller as it builds up. The foundation is the largest rocks, which is taking the brunt of any wave force that may crash onto the new riprap. And that's the goal, is to build something that's obviously strong enough to absorb waves, as well as break them up before they get to your deck, or at least reduce them and minimize them down to a smaller size. Because right now, as you guys might all know, we get a high tide and some fetch and some waves. Your deck and the existing rock is absorbing that wave right now, which is ultimately crashing on the rock and splashing upward, which is forcing the deck boards up and pulling pilings up, and you lose some of your deck boards that way. So by pushing that rock out, we'll absorb the waves further out. You're still going to get some spray. You're still going to get some impact back on the deck, but it's going to be minimized to the fullest extent possible, as well as still holding the rocks in place and not allowing rocks to ultimately slide out under that type of pressure. So ultimately, that's the goal. You build an underwater underwater wall, so to speak, with the pilings and the rocks wedged behind them. And then you build up with large rock, building the foundation up to smaller rock, and it's locked in place. You don't lose the rock, which is expensive to do in general with refurbishment, and it ultimately will provide some wave retenuation that you guys ultimately take on the nose right now with your deck, and ultimately is going to lead to further damage to the deck. Now, if we get I grew up here in Naples, born and raised, right? So I've never seen anything like Ian in my life here, right? Never thought it would happen, but it did. That's some storm like that, 6 foot, 8 foot, 10 foot of water, a surge, and then you get a fetch on top of that. There's not much that we can guarantee on that, but a Milton, 2 foot, 3 foot surge with some fetch on top of it, this shoreline is gonna be able to handle that kind of impact significantly better than you guys ever have, which ultimately will further protect your upland assets, the deck, the pool, everything that you have landward of your existing riprap shoreline. So ultimately, on top of that, we are also going to kind of build up the area outside of the existing deck footprint and kind of level it off and kind of get it built up a little bit taller as well. We're doing that on Cape Marco, just to your, I guess, north and west of you guys. We're building that up a little bit taller with rock and getting them some more elevation to protect them because they're fully exposed out there as well. So you guys aren't alone in this, but you guys are unique in that you do have shallow water depths, which is working, in my opinion, and from my experience, is working in your corner because it allows us to put these piles in to help reinforce and help structurally hold your rocks in place, where the other place is just taking on the nose, and slowly but surely the sand's going to erode away and those rocks are going to start sliding. Gravity does what it does. You're locked in with the piles, so it's a very structurally sound addition. It's a significant cost, don't get me wrong, I understand that, but long term and everything, this is a more of a one-time deal with the piles. Some rocks might sink a little bit over time, you guys. There's always some kind of maintenance with riprap. There always is. Just by the weight of those rocks, they're gonna slowly sink. But we're talking years. That 5-10 years from now, you might have to add another layer of rock on top. Nothing's maintenance free, and nothing's gonna secure you guys 100% from an Ian type of situation. But what you have in front of you and what you've seen and what ORC is proposing to build is a heck of an improvement to what you guys currently have out there. So with that being said, I'm happy to answer any questions. Hopefully I touched on all the bases that I was, discussed with Rick over the time, but I've been working with him and your committees, for some time here. We got state and federal permits. We got a contractor ready to hit the ground running. It's a very expensive project to do just by barge, which was the goal, to try to avoid impacts to your upland area. ORC understands that, but ultimately, just by budget purposes and time frame of having to mobilize an extra barge, and you'd have to travel all the way to Naples or potentially to the Jolly Bridge and then come back to get more rock, which would just prolong the length of time and add at least another 100,000 to the overall project cost to do it that way. So it was kind of in our financial recommendation to Rick to take that into consideration and see if the board would allow, and the members and the residents would be open to that as an option. But you do have two options. One's going to cost you more money, but ultimately it can be done either way. So where we go from here, Rick, if you want to ask those questions.
Let's open it up to questions. I mean, the land access option is the one that the committee, the shoreline committee, and the board is recommending to the owners. That's one of the prices I gave you.
Not all of the committee, Rick.
I'm
Remember?
sorry?
I said, not all of the committee, Rick, last night. I discussed the fact that I really have grave concerns about that, especially it being on our side.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you know, no matter what side, somebody's gonna have a problem with it, but yeah, I do.
Okay.
But I know, the committee as a whole, I just wanted to point that out.
Okay. Fair enough.
Go ahead, Dave.
Two questions for you, Jeff. First, it looks like you are not adding any riprap on the east side of the deck. There is no new enhanced riprap on the east side of the deck. Is that correct?
We're going to refurbish the existing. So based on where your fishing pier, let's call it, is located, we didn't want to have to demo that. And I did permit, I'll start off, I did permit riprap going underneath that all the way across to in line with the area out front of the existing deck. But when speaking to a contractor and coming down to feasibility, it was determined to be best that we put the piles along the toe of the existing riprap line. Toe is the base of the existing riprap shoreline behind the fishing pier, not to impact that, nor have to demo it, then rebuild it in order to inline that. So we will technically be refurbishing that by adding layers on top and adding piles out in front of that existing rock line, still improving that area.
Will you be putting the same 3 to 5 foot pieces of riprap up there, or just more of the small stuff?
Basically, we're going to keep what's there and just put the piles out in front to lock it in so we don't lose anything. So we're not going to, the idea right now is not to have to install any new base rock there, but just put the piles in front of the existing tow line.
Question number 2, it appears that at the deck, you're going up to the height of the deck. On the west side of the deck, you're not going up any higher. Why aren't we taking the riprap up 3 or 4 feet above shoreline?
Above well, we're going to add a layer to it. If you go out there and look at it, when I was out on site with Rick, it's not, there's areas that you can see some washouts have happened, and we're going to try to level that off and raise it up to the highest point of elevation that's already existing. Not raising it any higher than your furthest point at this time, but kind of bringing everything up to that level and just kind of having a smooth, functional, but aesthetically pleasing shoreline in that area.
And my question is why? Why aren't you raising it for protection?
To align.
Yeah, based on your existing site conditions on the landward side, as well as, you know, maintaining some views and access on that side and the deck area. You don't, you know, in my opinion, having a wall higher than your deck or a riprap area higher than your deck allows the riprap potentially to roll over onto that side if it were to take some waves at some point. So that was also taken into consideration, but you know, we kind of wanted to just match the existing grade there and just kind of level it off and provide some more functionality to what's existing there today.
Our neighbors to the west at Sambus, after they built their wonderful wall, cut a hole in it so that their people can walk down to the beach. It's on their side of the property line. What's that impact of water coming up their legal ramp, so to speak, and behind all of our riprap?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you're getting washout from the landward side, potentially, right? Is what you're getting at?
Exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I mean, the only thing we could, you know, you're not going to, I don't know how you protect that from happening. You're going to get washout when you get water coming up, washing over from their elevation down to you guys per se, let's say, but it's going to be minimal, but there could potentially be a lot more over time, especially if maintenance isn't done by them over a course of a storm. If we get one this summer and it gets some washout, it could ultimately create a washout for you guys. What do you do about that? we didn't really look at that as an option, to be honest with you, or a problem. But there are things that you could potentially do. I'd happy to, think about that a little bit more and get back to you on a better answer, to be honest with you.
Jeff, can we add piles there, maybe shorter that don't have to go as deep, and build the riprap up along, essentially build a wall there?
The only thing with that is, Rick, it makes sense. I get it. You're getting landward on the landward side, which is more on outside of my realm of we're ocean engineers, right? Mm-hmm. So I would have to talk to a civil, and I think you could 100%, right? As long as the local municipality, being Marco, would let us. No. I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah.
If I could add to what Dave's talking about, on the west side of the building, the seawall, and before the riprap was added, you could see the seawall dips down on our property, and then it does come back up to, it's right under the deck. I mean, while the deck was being built, you could see that. But why is our seawall that much lower, and why aren't we looking at raising the seawall so it's at least the same height across our whole property? And ideally, raise it another couple feet to keep that water surge out. Because the Caxambas, their seawall, much higher than ours. Much higher.
They're the ones directly west of you, right?
What's that?
To the west.
They're the ones directly to your west?
Yes.
To the right if you're facing the water on your shoreline, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
But actually, if you look, both buildings and their land is above
higher.
ours. Significantly.
No,
We saw that
I know,
today.
we can't change our building,
Right.
but I don't understand why we can't
Right.
raise
I
our
understand
seawall,
that.
build up that concrete seawall. If you need some steps to get over to go out to the deck, you can do that, but
Yeah.
I think it seems logical to me, it would stop the water intrusion for a lot of the hurricanes and water surges.
Interesting.
What about
Yeah, that's a great question.
what about drainage from our swells? They go out through
Right.
the rock. Will you guys rehook up better drainage?
So basically, the project scope is just to add more rock on top and not really touch the drainage pipes unless the city needs us or requires us to, and extend them out further.
Yeah.
That is one of the unknowns in this matter. Is we tried to talk to the city. I tried to, and then I told Rick it might be best for him to go down there as a owner and a resident and a taxpayer to see if he could get an answer out of them, and they really wouldn't answer him or give him any advice. So really at this point, we're not sure if the city's going to make us extend that pipe. It's functioning. We did look at it. You do get some, backflow, let's call it. It looked like with some, some sand, right? Which could cause some clogging, let's say, over time. But I told Rick, I was like, guys, that's kind of a maintenance thing that you guys should probably do annually or biannually, is make sure that those pipes are cleaned out and maintained so that the stormwater system that you guys have per the civil engineer plans for the site are functioning. Yes, sir. Go.
I'll just mention this to everybody there, because I've mentioned it to a couple of people, but when we had the people from Pipe Restoration Services in to look at the pipes, and they're the same people who gave us the advice on the check valves, they had been to 12 properties in Naples over the 3 days before they came to us, and they were at 3 properties on Marco that day, and they were looking at collection ponds or retention ponds that have outflow pipes, and they said ours was the only pond they saw that was draining. So I know none of us liked the way the property drains, but they were draining better than 15 other properties they saw that day, and they concluded that the riprap on the west side was draining very, very well through the existing riprap, and the pipe on the east side by Ships we could see was draining very well. And all they said to us was that we should have the Carla's word here, canals on both sides of the property, or the but the ditches, as I call them, graded, but not, you couldn't do it in the wet season. You have to wait for the dry season to do that. And they, along the lines of what Jeff is saying, that is something we should probably be doing on an annual basis, because their slope gets knocked off, and we just got to get them sloped the right way. The same thing with the 2 collection ponds.
Jeff, can I ask the question about the deck protection? I understand on the way in, while the water is lower than the land, it will protect from waves, and it would block the waves, and it would shoot the water up sooner than today's situation where it shoots it up under the deck. I understand that protection. Once the surge has reached about 4 feet or 5 feet, it crosses the height of the deck and the pool, and it starts pouring in towards our building. At some point, that water gets drawn back to the Gulf. On that drawback, there's nothing that's going to protect our deck. Is that correct?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah, okay. That's definitely a concern, but
at that Ian point, situation.
Yeah, at that point, I don't know how high it got an Ian out there for you guys, but I mean, we did help you rebuild the deck. 3.5
feet into the lower level of the building.
Yeah. So the goal of what we're proposing, you guys, is to protect the deck as much as possible that's allowed per the municipalities, being the state and the feds and the local government here, as well as still provide some functionality for you guys as residents in regards to your current use out there, right? Without totally changing things. I don't know what more we could do, but this is definitely going to help. It's definitely going to protect the asset of the deck. But a storm surge like that, it's hard to say what the return water would do.
I guess one more question.
Yes, sir.
When the deck gets wiped out the next time, and I don't know whether that's this year or 17 years from now, when it gets wiped out the next time, should the owners at that point in time choose not to replace the deck and just expand our onshore presence, make a bigger sun deck on the land, we now have this gap, am I correct, between where the deck used to be and where the shoreline is, and that riprap is effectively a valley and would all need to be replaced and enhanced at that point in time, yes?
Yeah. I mean, the area where the deck sits over top is what you're getting at, as the valley. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Yeah. So then you could pile more rock, stack more rock on top of that to be consistent elevation with the west and east side of the shoreline.
Okay.
So, and what you do on the uplands, you guys, I mean, that's the deck is beautiful. It's awesome. It's a huge extension of your backyard, but it is highly exposed and not cheap to replace and maintain.
Okay.
So that's
yeah.
Very nice.
I'm done.
No, it's just at some point.
Yeah.
This is going to take a permit from Marco, the city.
Yeah.
What we're proposing? Was that?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it takes a local building permit by a general contractor, which I am not, right? So
experiences there are not real quick on issuing a lot of these.
No, I would say you're probably minimum 3 weeks to five, maybe 6 weeks at most for a permit. So the sooner we get, a contractor on board and submitted, just the quicker you can get it done. That's all.
John, I will tell you what the guy at Oric told me yesterday, and that is that because they're not doing any demo at all, that's the bit that usually takes longer. We aren't doing any demo, so he's thinking more along the lines of what Jeff just said. I know our experience is awful there with delay, but under circumstances like this, it may not be that long.
I agree. You're not doing any electrical work. There's no additional reviews. It's a pretty straightforward project, and it's not a new riprap shoreline. You're just doing refurbishment. The only thing new are the piles, right? And the additional rock, but it's not electrical. It's not plumbing, so you don't have to go through all of those reviews. So hopefully they're expedited as much as the bureaucracy there can.
The project to save the deck, though, is gonna take all this water that's coming towards the deck and divert it to each side of the building?
No, I mean, the ultimate goal of this is to break down the wave impact to the deck, which ultimately right now is crashing onto the deck. If you were to get a king tide and a big fetch or a big swell on it, your shoreline, the rock currently terminates right at the edge of the deck. So, you know, you guys take it on the chin right now with the high tide and any kind of wave action that you get.
Well, Jeff, let me ask you a question though. The piles are going to run for 300 feet. They're going to be along the
Correct.
entire shoreline.
Yeah. From property line to property line. Yes, sir.
Is going to go along the entire shoreline. So I'm not sure, John, if I heard you, it sounded like you were fearing that the riprap in front of the deck was going to act like a funnel and shoot it sideways.
It will, yeah, once it hits that, the water's gonna go somewhere, and I would think it would go to the sides and right down the side, the ditches on either side of our property and ultimately come in.
You can't stop
No.
the pressure of the water. All this is going to do is reduce the pressure of the water on the inbound deck on a surge up to about 3 or 4 feet.
But then the water's gonna go
Once
somewhere.
the surge passes 3 or 4 feet, it will come up over the top of the deck, the same way it did in Ian. The Ian surge was about 8.5 feet on the south end of the island, and we got about 3 feet into our garage. There's your answer.
That sounds
more.
Yeah, the goal is to protect the whole entire shoreline, property line to property line, and you know, lock it all in. And the rocks will absorb the reduced wave impact as they do currently. You know, there's a lot of holes and gaps for the waves to crash in the shoreline to absorb. That's the best thing about a riprap shoreline. They absorb the water. And where you get ships, you know, for example, or anywhere in Marco, you get deflection of waves off of seawalls that don't have riprap. So, you know, Naples Bay, for example, turns into a washing machine on the weekends because there's so much boat traffic and it's just seawall. So you get, you know, a lot of wave deflection back and forth. Here, the waves are absorbed more by the riprap, if that makes sense.
Gordon, just a question and a comment. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, you muted. Okay. Yes.
No, he's muted.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, now you muted.
You're muted, Gordon.
Can you hear me while I'm talking?
Yes, go.
So, a couple things. I would point out that moving the kayak ramp, for those who aren't looking at the drawings, kayak ramp would go, and I question this for Jeff in that regard. Jeff, on the west side of the building, the riprap is coming out to the new 10-foot extension, right? Where it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So on the west side of the building, the line is coming further up, goes to the east side of it. Also, on that side, we would be putting the large 5-foot boulders west of the deck over to the campus. We would be putting the big boulders in front of the islands also, right?
I have a tough time hearing you, but I believe the answer to your question is yes.
Could somebody clarify what was just?
Yeah, we really couldn't hear him on our end. It was
Don't-
muffled.
I think he's asking if we're adding the larger boulders west of the existing kayak or walkway down.
Yeah.
And the answer to that is yes, if that's what he was asking.
Yeah. Is this better or not? I can't
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that was my question. I just want to point out, as far as I can tell from the drawings, the type of material and the pilings and the size of the boulders going west is exactly the same. And the front line moves forward 10 feet of where the old line theoretically was. So on that side, we would be putting the pilings in, bigger rocks, and retaining that material regardless of whether the water got over it or not. which was one of the advantages you mentioned. And also with just a question with regard to, I know they were taking away the kayak ramp, which is on the exposed side on the southwest corner of the deck. That would have kind of a jetty then over there from the large boulders and the higher rock line. And then this is for Rick, I think was the plan to put a step down section of smoother boulders on the east property, east of the deck, as a kayak or walkway access point?
I think the short answer, Gordon, is yes. It is the plan really is to, if you remember what the kayak access and the beach access area looked like before we built the new, modern ramp design. The idea is to put the old access approach over on the east side at that end. So yes.
Just wanted to clear that. I thought that's what it looked like on the drawings.
Yeah.
Rick, the drawing looks like it's a ramp. It doesn't look.
I know we've gone through several iterations, Dave. You're right, it does, but we can't keep the drawings up with the discussions we've been having. So it's
It's to be determined exactly which way you guys go, but there's a couple options, doing like a step, like flat rock, like Gordon was just explaining, as well as build a ramp with a fixed roof load decking, kind of like what's there, but build it up and over and down. So there's, we were trying to maintain the beach too out in front on that side as well, to that you guys could still, you residents still could access the water and have an area that's not pushed out further into deeper water. So that was another goal of the project, let's say, and still structurally reinforce the shoreline on that east side. So a couple of driving factors on why we didn't push the tow line out on the east side as we did in front of the deck, working your way west.
So you're saying the south, as I look at this, the southeast corner of the deck is exposed. If that's the direction the storm comes, that does not have this taller, thick, heavier riprap in that southeast corner. It's got today's riprap and basically an open corner of the deck.
From where your fishing pier access comes off of that deck, from that point over to the property line, we'll maintain the existing footprint of riprap that's there. It will be reinforced though with piles out in front of it to maintain it and hold it there. But technically we will not gain the 10 foot from your fishing pier access over southeast to the property line in that area. That is correct.
On the west side, I just noticed there's a 23 by 21 foot, it's kind of a tetrahedron or something, I don't remember what that is.
Right.
And does not get new riprap. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'd have to look at that again. I think it has to do with elevations and tying into your neighbor's property on the transition from you guys to us. I'm looking at some topo elevations on the drawing too. I don't know. I need to be honest with you. Let me relook at that and see. And it might be you can see the wall on the drawing from the property because we take the survey. You can see the wall that's there. Rick, do you remember why we did this, or was there any feedback from me when I drew it this way? I can't.
I don't remember, Jeff, to tell you the truth.
Me either. Let me look to get you an answer, and I can respond in an email and/or adjust it and see what any additional cost would be by the contractor. But matching their elevation, we call it feathering. We like to build up and then slope down to your deck level from their property line, since they're taller than you guys are currently. Maybe we build up to them and then slope back down to your deck elevation, so we don't have a hard drop off of rock right at the deck, so that when you're on the deck, it's just rock, and then potentially that rock could fall down onto the deck. So we don't obviously avoid that, but we call it feathering down when we kind of start at a higher elevation and slope downward to match an existing grade. That's what I'm envisioning here, and I don't see why we didn't do that little corner. I'm not sure, but we need to look at that. I need to look at that and get with you guys, get an answer for you on that, 100%.
The visual that we see, our unit is at that corner, is that their seawall, our neighbors, comes down to a level that meets our seawall, of course, and it's lower than the deck at their property line. Their wall is very high all along their building, but it comes down to a point that's lower than the seawall at our deck. So I don't know, to get it all raised to the deck level, we need to go on almost their property and raise that seawall or raise the riprap to keep all that water out of our property.
Yeah. It could be an offset that when I visited, I got pictures. So there's a reason, you guys. I'm just not able to answer the question right now. It could be just an offset because of the transition between the two properties and the two different elevation changes that we provided that buffer zone, let's call it. But again, the ultimate goal was to provide additional wave retention, provide the breaking down of the waves out front of your existing shoreline to gain and reduce the impact to your entire shoreline, but ultimately to the deck was the kind of the goal of this project.
Nursing. Okay. Was that stopping the flooding at the rock building?
No.
No.
No, none of this rock will.
None of it.
It's going to go right through.
None of it's
So, Rick,
down the pressure against the deck on a certain surge. Above that level of surge, it's going to come right over the top. It's still going to get the return suction when it pulls back out, and it doesn't stop water from our building. Nothing. Well, there's a couple of places out there, but they're
nothing
equally.
No, but from our experience, when we rebuilt this for you guys or engineered the new deck to go in, there was a lot of lift that happened. A lot of your piles got pulled out, which is a clear sign that the impact of the waves underneath the deck, lifted the piles out of the sediment, out of the sand. So ultimately, that's why we built the rock up to basically your stringers and your cap timbers right now, currently under the deck, and then ultimately try to reduce the waves from lifting up on it. But yeah, anything that breaches over top of the deck and goes out, that will be added weight to the top of the deck, ultimately ideally keeping the piles in the dirt, in the ground, but ultimately the deck boards, they might be sacrificial at that point.
In all openness and fairness, Jeff, I'm on the opposition side. I don't ever want to replace the deck again. When it gets blown out, when it gets taken out the next time, I want to just stay on shore. That's
Understood.
Understood. Here, and it's not going to change as long as we're here.
The only thing I would say, Dave, in response to that is that riprap wedge with concrete piles out front isn't going anywhere. The deck may get cleared out, but the riprap fortification that we're putting in now is going to help protect the entire shoreline, and whatever we put in, upwards of the current deck. I mean, I agree with that. I don't know how many people would ever want to replace the deck if we lose it again. How many times before we learn?
So you gotta ask yourself this, Rick. If we all have that thought, and if that is a popular thought, I'm going to say if that's a popular thought, why would we spend $300,000 protecting a deck that we know somewhere between 3 months from now and 17 years from now is going to get blown out in a storm? And I say 17 because that's how long the first deck lasted. And
well, the only thing I'll say in response is to pivot a little bit. I believe that if we had this fortification in place at this time last year, we would have survived Milton with almost no damage. And Milton was $260,000.
But 3 years ago, it would not have survived Ian.
Yeah, and none of us are arguing that it's going to keep Ian out of our lives, or Irma for that matter. But how often do they come as opposed to the Miltons? That's the thing to think about.
More frequently. So my question is it a wise investment to spend $300,000 to protect the deck if we collectively think we're not going to replace it, And when it gets blown out, we're going to just do something on the shore. So we're spending, this is a $300,000 insurance policy against a potential $250,000 damage to a deck that if it gets damaged, we're not replacing it. Is that a decision that we should be doing?
Well, except that the $300,000 we would be investing now is going to continue to protect the rest of the shoreline and anything we replace this deck with for a long time to come.
And our property, maybe a bill too.
I mean, what are you going to do with the waves that come in? The normal moderate storm waves, if this isn't in place. It's heading for the pool.
No.
There's a lot of money spent, not by you guys, but by a lot of people refurbishing riprap, that are highly more exposed, like I mentioned, that don't have the pile support that would benefit from it, but the water depths and the existing site conditions don't allow for them to apply that application. Like you guys are unique. You have shallow water, and that is working in your benefit and does provide further protection for everything upland. Deck is highly exposed no matter what we do here, and is sacrificial to a certain extent, and most likely in my lifetime I might get a phone call to replace it again with the way things are going. But this will protect further upland and provide an additional buffer for everything upland of the deck as well. So I'm not advocating for it. I don't make any additional money per se or business off of you do it or not do it, but this is something that I would consider and push for if I lived here, to be honest with you. But that's just my opinion.
Can you comment on what's involved in raising the seawall, from permitting, from coastal? I imagine it gets harder.
Yeah. Just the cost. It's not hard permitting wise because you guys have an existing seawall. So it's a replacement at that point. It's not a permitting hurdle. It's more of labor because of how much rock you have out in front. Typical practice of seawall replacements these days is you put a wall in front of a wall, and then you pour one big large cap on top of both panels, and you entomb the old wall with the new wall. So it would be very labor intensive to make this space to install the wall in front of your existing wall, just because of the deck location and the amount of rock that is in front of your wall, if that makes sense. You can't really add height to that wall currently. You just can't do it. It's not practical. So
part of the wall that's not by the deck, that's over between the deck and our neighbor's property.
Mm-hmm.
There's no deck there. You can't raise it.
No, you could. Again, if there's riprap right up to it, it's labor intensive to put a wall in front of a wall because you're handling all that rock to make space for the new wall. So it's feasible, 100% doable. But labor cost would be typical seawalls are anywhere between $750 to $1,500. Double that for more. Forget what we did over at Ships, how much that was, but they're like $1,200 a linear foot, typical seawalls. But this kind of additional work and labor would probably double that cost per linear foot. So you'd be like, good budget, I'd say $2,500 to $3,000 a linear foot times, whatever amount of section you're going, and that's just a budget. That's just, when I give budgets out, I tell people it's the first time I don't mean to, but I'm lying to you. With a 20% contingency on top of that is what I would say. So it's hard to. Seawall permitting is easy, no problem. The labor and the actual functionality of doing it is difficult.
Thank you.
Yep.
I got it. How much have the last 3 hurricanes impacted our shoreline? Have we lost shoreline, or what's been the impact of that?
Is that a question for me? I'm not sure.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
For those that have been here, Have we lost shoreline?
There's actually a seawall. We have a metal seawall
Okay.
that you can't see if you went down to the
Yeah, I've seen it. when
riprap
they-
corner
when they-
or when the deck was off. There is a metal seawall, so we haven't lost any land that's collapsed into the water. Because we do have a metal seawall that is at the edge of the property line. We've lost riprap, we've lost some of the small storms, but we have not lost any of our shoreline.
Is the seawall right in front of the deck?
Yes, it's between the deck and the pool.
Because there was something else put in there one time too back further by the pool to prevent the water from, remember that?
There's
Got reinforced after Irma.
Yeah, it's been reinforced, but that's where the line
Right.
runs effectively between the
It's
deck.
on the edge of the brick.
If you lifted up
It
the
is.
steps to the deck,
paver.
that's where it would be.
Yeah.
Right under the edge.
So we
of
have
the-
not lost any real estate to the
No.
water.
No, we're not, we don't have the East Coast problem where the houses are falling.
That's a good thing.
Yes.
I think we can speculate on that, but I'm sitting here and I'm looking at Kenna Rennick's wonderful photo behind you on in the back wall, Cape Romano. And we know what happened to it.
Right, they're gone.
So, I mean, I think for the amount of investment we've all made in this condo building, I think if there are prospects of making it stronger or better, the fact that we're not being proactive when many of our neighbors are, I think puts us at a greater risk, whether we keep the deck or not. I mean, I think that's the direction this board, we were trying to be proactive in establishing this committee and looking at what we could do while we watched all of our neighbors build up their seawalls and such. And I think, as Jeff is telling us, we have a unique opportunity because of what we have in front of our property, in spite of being the lowest property along Texambas Pass. So I think it certainly was worthwhile looking into. And as far as I'm concerned, for the investment I made, I would prefer to do as much as we can. And I don't think it has a whole lot to do with our deck. I think most of us do agree we won't replace the deck if something happens it again, although that will be an owner's vote. So anyway, is there any other input or questions for Jeff?
Cheryl, I'd like to second that's well thought of, it's well presented.
All right, thank you.
And it's a touch of real wisdom in this debate, because all of us have a lot of money in these condos. And for us to worry about the pennies to protect the total value of the building and the property, in my opinion, is very short-sighted. So thank you for your comment and your thought and your presentation of that idea.
Thank you.
He's not
Great.
Any other questions?
Oh, Jeff's gone.
Yeah, okay.
I might say, I just wanted everybody to understand that those pilings that go down and have those rocks there, Ian's not going to take those out. They're going to be there forever. They're not going anywhere. And so we have the ability in the future to build in behind there anything we wish. That becomes our new frontage against the sea. And it's just going to be permanent. And so even if we end up having to replace the deck, we're not going to have to replace that. That becomes our barrier, and it's going to be our barrier forever. Keep that in mind.
Leonard, I want to second what you just said, because Carla and I are on the hardscape subcommittee, and we believe that ultimately, if the deck goes, the only reasonable program beyond that is for hardscape to be anchored on the ground, so that if there is water, we can't prevent it from coming in and over, but it's not going to destroy what's on the ground, whether it is concrete or pavers or whatever. So I think ultimately we're going to go that way someday. But, so we have a backup plan if the deck goes. And I agree with Dave, who I don't really agree with very often, but I agree that something has to be done. If the deck goes, we've got to do something on the ground in terms of hardscape. And I can tell you that it is not a cheap solution. I reached out to a landscape design architect, and his estimates were in the multi-million-dollar option.
For what?
What?
Well,
To lower the deck?
for what?
No, to lower the deck to, the deck's gone. What do you do with the remaining area, which is, if the deck is gone, the riprap below the deck is exposed. What are you gonna do with that? Are you gonna take it out? Or are you gonna fill it in with concrete?
And Ken, you and I disagree a little bit on that, because on a hardscape, I still have an idea thinking that we move most of the land out to the east side, as you pointed out, like on a concrete thing. We would still have somewhat of a deck, but it doesn't have to be over the water. We don't need a 5,200 square feet deck. Maybe we could have a 2,000 square foot deck, half of the size.
Right.
Just as an idea. So you and I do differ a little bit on those issues. And I don't think he ever gave a multi-million-dollar plan, but he is more of a landscape architect than actually what I think we need is more of a contractor, or maybe even a civil engineer that could plot the land out for
And
that.
I misspoke when I said multi-million-dollar. I was gonna say approaching $1 million to redo all of that.
That's better.
Better, but still
That's
million here,
still
million there.
ridiculous.
So my apology.
No, no.
So I can't see, but is Jeff, are you still on?
No, he just called me and told me he lost internet, or he got cut off and couldn't get back in. So
Any conclusion here, Rick, or?
no, I think I think we heard what Jeff thought, how the project's going to unfold. He's got a couple of things to follow up on, which he will do, I'm sure. Our object today, I think, was to get as much information out to owners as we could, and I hope we've done that. And I think Dave weighed in, and a number of other people weighed in, and people can consider all those options and decide how they want to go. At some point, we have to get a proxy and a vote out to people to decide if we're going to go forward with this, or sit and wait.
So what the action steps then will be that we will get a couple of answers from Jeff on the questions raised today.
Yep.
And hopefully, I know the board, your committee discussed in terms of getting a proxy vote out, hopefully maybe by the end of this week.
Yep, I hope so.
And these answers to these questions could be included with that.
Yep.
But you don't have a price yet. Wait, you don't have a
need
price yet. How can you do
You need to put it
how
out
can you
with
do
a
a
price.
proxy vote? You don't have a cost.
Well, I think we have a range, which we had in the past.
$5,000 range.
Well,
then we will come up with the right number, Dave.
Yeah, go back.
We'll see it in the proxy.
I mean, that was an approximate price for this discussion, and I think that the more that we know in terms of answering the questions, the more, I take it, Rick, we will come up with a
Yeah,
definite.
we'll have a price with the proxy.
We have two options, either a land option or a water option. The water option seems to be beyond our budget or our pain level for any additional assessment. So it would seem to me that we conclude that it is a land option. And as Rick said, it's between $305,000 and possibly $350,000.
I think this is bigger than that.
I beg your pardon?
375.
Okay, I'm sorry, 375. But it all has to do with the reclamation based on the damage that would be done by using the land option. And I can tell you just the area that Rick and I talked about, which is on the east side of the building. They would have to do some modification of the retention pond, but it's probably a 2,000 square foot area that potentially would be damaged. And they're talking about putting down plywood to mitigate whatever damage they can, because they're going to have a track hoe. They'll probably have a bobcat, but they're painfully aware, Oric is painfully aware that we do not want to create any more damage to the existing property than we have to. And he has, I have not talked with Oric, but Rick has, and they've assured us that they will monitor and keep track of that kind of situation so that we don't have an upside of $75,000, because it's sod, it's the watering system, the landscape watering, and any potential landscape.
Yeah, Ken, we will get a more precise number from Oric before the proxy goes out. Don't worry about that.
Yeah,
So,
and
we'll get there.
I would like to add for Dave that it's been suggested by our auditor and Barbara that in the future, when we do an assessment, we take out a line of credit to ensure that, you know, if there are fluctuations or whatever within a certain limit, that we would pay for it with the line of credit and then make the assessment, so that if the assessment is lower, then we're not taking in extra money. And if it's, you know, a little bit higher within the limit that was approved, then, you know, that will be the final amount. Barbara, I don't know if I'm stating that correctly,
I
but
think Leonard and I were both with the auditor when she made that recommendation. And then when you're assessing, you had all your costs, you know exactly what it cost you, and you're only assessing people for the cost of the project.
which is legally what we have to do.
Interest.
Cheryl, we do have a line of credit. Are you talking about something different?
No. No, I mean, yes, we already have it. Yeah, I'll let Leonard speak to it.
Yeah, we would use the line of credit we have right now. We have a $500,000 line of credit, and the whole basis is to keep the accounting clean. And you just put everything in the project into that line of credit in terms of the payments at the end. And then all you have to do is add up the total, and that becomes the assessment divided by 59. It's not too difficult. And you don't have everything running over each other like sometimes we've had, and it's hard. Right now, they haven't been able to reconcile the accounts because they've been using money out of certain accounts to pay for things that then got assessed later, and it makes it tricky. Yeah, so we try to keep it simplified, but that's just the way of paying for it. It's not going to change the cost. It's just going to cost just as much whether you pay for it that way or the other.
Hey, Rick, do you mind if I say something?
No, please do.
Okay. So, I joined the committee. I was obviously president when we had the last vote, and I did not want the deck. I was probably aligned with Dave a lot on the thinking. I felt like it was a little bit of could be a bait and switch. So people were saying so I'm going to cost $2,500 or $2,000 extra to have the deck put on. And then once we get it, then along comes this project, right? Another $300,000-400,000. But having gone through the project, thinking about what's happening with both our neighbors and, the risks to the property, the pool, the deck, et cetera, I've come along to believe that it's something we should do. And the long-term impact and benefits, if we ever put a deck back after another storm, I'll be so upset again. But I do think it makes sense with what's going on and with the way that we're getting more storms and everything and the damage, and it's the best thing we can do at somewhat minimal cost for the long term. So that's what I've learned along the way with this, with our meetings and and discussions. But when I first joined the committee, I wanted to make sure we weren't wasting money with the bait and switch, and I don't think that's what's happening. So that's my 2 cents.
Great. Thanks for the
Mike,
comment.
I have to appreciate your comment, because I think it's important for everybody to hear that you were adamantly on the other side of this, but you understand now after the explanation by the engineer, what we've talked about and everything, that you come to the decision that it is a practical investment in project. Thank you.
Is the amount, I have one last question. The amount that we were throwing around earlier, 305 to 375, is that all based on the land approach to this? Or did we just disregard pricing on the water approach? I heard all about the barge sinking and trucking and all this stuff, but so are we focused now, going to be focused on just a land completion at this project?
Well,
And
yes, Joe, except that what I'll say is that's it.
Yeah.
It's not just land. The work is still going to be.
That's what they're doing. Then I don't want to even hear about the water, so that's fine.
I'd like to see a
No,
price
I
for the
thought you said it
water.
was gonna be both land and water.
It's gonna be both. You just need to have a place to drop off the rocks.
I was gonna ask the same question.
Well, yeah, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about the land or the
Right.
water? Water's more expensive? That's what I heard, water's more expensive,
He
so.
said water was more expensive, and he thought the number he said was
For
it
our
could add
budget.
another 100,000.
Yeah.
Right,
Right.
right.
But if, for 100,000, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
right.
less
Yeah,
than
I'm for that option.
$2,000 a
Yeah,
year.
that's what I'm saying, you have no idea
To
what this,
avoid.
tearing
so
up
we
this
should do
property
both
already.
prices, I think,
I would like to see both.
if it's possible.
Let me take another shot at it. Okay, they will bring rock by land and put it where the current riprap is on the east side.
Yes.
Then they are going to do the pile driving and the rock placement by a crane from the barge. Okay. If the depositing of the rock and moving it to where the crane can get it causes damage, we will have to repair that damage.
Right.
How much will that
The
be?
scope- I'm sorry, Joe?
How much will that be?
I know.
Well, however much it costs to replace some sod and the irrigation,
Less than $100,000?
well less.
I see.
Well under.
And a brand new paved parking lot with giant heavy trucks coming over the top of it.
And the pavers.
And
The
the, right.
pavers.
Correct.
So let me ask a question, and one of you might give me a short answer, please. How much do we pay for the asphalt to be redone?
50,000.
How much?
69.
Okay.
69?
59.
For
59?
the retention pond
Yeah,
to be drained, or to be,
And rehabbed,
we have.
yeah, just roughly.
15,
15?
Okay.
roughly?
Well, no, I think it was not quite that much.
No, it was less. I'm trying to go high.
Dollars might, as an assured $100,000 might be cheaper than going over all of this and risking our property.
Doing it all by water.
Doing it
Yeah,
all
do
by
yeah.
water.
It's money, we don't know what the damage.
Yeah.
The,
Also, don't lose all of our parking spaces, then we don't have,
The
you know, all of
inconvenience,
the.
though.
And the sand in the pool.
Exactly.
And the
The
sand
inconvenience of it.
You know,
blowing.
the
For
place is looking
$100,000.
really
And
nice
then it
now.
goes into the
You know,
swells.
I mean, it's
and-
looking great. It's everything's been
Finally.
done. It's really nice. I mean, living through this, and now all of a sudden we're talking, well, let's rip it up again and we're gonna improve this.
Clear.
Well, we don't know what we're gonna rip up.
all I can tell you is what they told me, Joe. They are going to put protection down on the sod.
Won't be enough.
We don't,
Won't be enough. What about the shrubs? What about the sprinkler system? What about the irrigation system? What about
Joe,
this?
you
What about
did, Joe, you did not hear what I said 5 minutes ago. Did you hear what I said 5 minutes ago? The potential damage to the lawn and area and sprinkler system and all that is within probably a 2,000 square foot area.
Is this something somebody told you, or is
Yeah,
this
you
in the
have
bid?
no- you
Do
have
you
no
have a
knowledge of
contract for
that,
that?
Ben.
Do you have somebody that's liable for that?
And truly,
Or
right
is it
now,
just somebody
the-
talking, saying, oh, no, we're gonna be fine?
the trucks the other day that did
Oh.
the,
Right, they said
Sewer.
it takes like a year to cure.
to cure. So the asphalt taking a year to cure, all of those trucks that came in and cleaned out the drains the other day have made ruts.
Yeah, they call it
into the
scarring, yeah.
And, you know, that's gonna happen. 50, 25,000 here, 30,000 there, new landscaping, whatever. Why not do it all over water if you're gonna do it? I really,
Yeah.
$100,000 is $1,600.
Michelle, did Bonus tell us not to have any trucks on our asphalt for a year? How are we gonna do?
They said it's common, it's the way people turn their wheels in the parking lot, and it has to
Cars
settle
totally
and
uncontrollable.
cure.
And if cars
Totally
can do it, if
unbelievable.
cars can do
Well,
it,
it was trucks and cars.
trucks
yeah.
with a couple of tons,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
tons and
Yeah.
tons of
Yeah.
riprap on them.
Right.
Yeah, that'll be.
Because
really-
those giant rocks aren't lakes.
No, they're not, and they dump them.
Uh-huh.
And so what are we gonna do with moving vans if people move out?
Yeah.
Have them carry their stuff to the curb?
It's all right now. Market's horrible.
Doom and gloom here.
Well, I think we're done.
I
Yeah.
suppose that the question is, do people want, and we know what the absolute cost would be, the top cost, if it was all done by the water, and Carla's right. If it's $100,000 or $150,000 more, we know that's the outside of the cost. Is that what the owners are willing to pay extra to have it all done by the water? I'm willing to have it done by the water because then I know what it is. But we're also trying to represent the interest of the ownership to fund this project.
You get the two different prices.
You gotta get two different
You gotta get pricey.
Yeah.
It's gonna split the.
Well,
No-
then
nobody's gonna
then
win.
if you're gonna do it that way,
Yeah.
you should have
Nobody's gonna win.
two different questions.
Right.
Then the main question would be, should this be done at all?
Correct.
And then, should the vote approve it being done, which is your preference?
That's correct.
Right.
And they should be
Yes.
separate questions,
Yeah.
so that
Otherwise,
it doesn't
it
take
goes
away
down.
from the main vote.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
Agree.
All right. So we can deal with that. Is that correct, Rick?
Yeah, yep.
So you'll work on finding the answers,
Mhm.
committee, that were asked today.
Yep.
And then if you can come up with more specific costs for each option, then we would be ready to get a proxy vote out, perhaps by the end of this week or beginning of next week after Labor
Yep.
Day.
Yeah.
So-
Barbara can ask that. How long will it take us to get a proxy out, Barbara?
We can do it in about two to 3 days notice, if you give us everything we need to put it out. We'll make the effort to get it out for you as fast as we can.
Okay. All right.
All right. I'm good.
Okay. You ready to move on?
Sure.
I'm not serving dinner at this meeting.
Just drinks, we're fine.
Dish.
Just happy hour? Okay. So we'll try to go through the remaining things fairly quickly. I don't know, Rick, do you want to add anything else? I know we touched on the PRS valve installation. Is there
Yeah, I
anything?
think Leonard he knows they're coming out to take a look at
Yes.
things, and so I think
So-
that's been addressed.
They're gonna come out and reevaluate that to see why it didn't work well.
Okay.
If it was the reason, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and Ken touched on the hardscape committee at
Yeah.
this point. Is there anything else you want to add, Ken?
Not at all, not at all.
Okay, all right. Okay. So moving on to Barbara, the building manager position.
We still have searches going on, and knowing that you're even going to be here in 2 weeks, hopefully we'll have candidates for you to interview, Cheryl.
Okay, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anyone have any questions or comments?
I guess I just wonder, Barbara, where do you go to look for candidates? I mean, what are you posting on websites, or how does that work?
At times use ZipRecruiter, Indeed. There's a local firm that also does that kind of work. So we're talking to everybody. Rich.
Okay.
It's just
It ain't easy.
it's not easy, and a lot of people don't want to come to market. And it is what it is, but we'll find somebody one way or the other. So we're working on it.
Okay.
What are we offering comp-wise?
You're offering in a $50,000 to $60,000 range. A lot of the candidates, we have met candidates we really liked. A lot of people have been in construction even and come down from up north. They're looking for $75,000, $80,000 or more. We're trying, we know how much money everything's costing. You all were trying to keep
I think you
it
have to up your
reasonable.
expectations from a salary standpoint, because
I do.
I'm not in your business, I don't know anything about it. But, you know, Emilio was a unique find, he was wonderful, he was probably worth twice as much as he was being compensated.
When we recruited Emilio, it was really to replace Steve.
Right.
To have somebody that wouldn't get as flustered and whatever.
Right.
And it was more a concierge to you all and kind of control the vendors that
Right.
come in and out of here.
Right.
And because Emilio had some background.
Right.
He kind of expanded it over time on his own. Normally, a lot of the things he did, we take care of back office for you, getting the vendors lined up to come out and stuff. Making sure you get competitive bids. Sometimes you didn't always have competitive bids, in my opinion.
But do you think 50 or
So-
60,000 is sufficient?
I don't
Is
think
that
you're gonna get
possible?
anybody.
I think that's
Well-
super low.
You're not gonna get anybody that's gonna even
I mean, I don't know, I'm like Joe.
70%
I
of
just think
Emilio's ability, I don't
Well,
think,
we'll
the person
bring-
that you
we'll-
get is gonna be not adequate.
We'll
I'll
bring the
guarantee you.
candidates to the board and they can
Well-
decide.
Do they get time and a half too on top of that?
It depends.
Overtime?
Once they're over a base salary, I think it's 58,000 right now, then it's a salary.
But
So-
isn't this all boiled down to a bill for us? I mean,
It is.
this is our bill, right?
Yes,
I mean,
it's your bill.
I mean,
If
you're
it's
trying
up
to manage
you
it from the
all.
standpoint of finding the best possible
Right.
person. I'm saying that I think you have to up your expectations as far as finding somebody. Benefits, do you provide benefits at all?
Health insurance,
Health insurance.
yeah.
You know, what about extra time off? I know Amelia was in here at
On Christmas
7:30.
Eve, on Easter, Palm Friday.
You know, and he
all
would
of
be
those
over
days.
here. all the time.
We need somebody
So-
with.
Yeah, but you need
more-
somebody that
more
isn't gonna
skills.
sit there
I mean,
punching
Emilio
the
was
clock.
great because he had some background where, certain things he was able to take
Right.
care
To do.
of. Elevator
Right.
fixed.
Or you do.
Well, but I think you gotta raise the comp. I mean,
Yes, you
I
do.
talked to friends that live in other buildings that are on boards and they're paying their building managers, 100. That's like where they're, and
Yeah,
one
that
of them
makes
left
more sense.
because he's like,
Yeah.
that ain't enough.
Or you
again,
have somebody in the office and then you have a part-time maintenance
Yeah,
person.
you can do that too.
Well,
But it's scary. It's been scary here.
Yeah, it's been
Very.
scary.
Summer,
very,
and
yes.
Yeah.
And let's all remember that Emilio didn't retire.
Right.
He took another job.
Right.
Well, that's,
Right.
yeah, I just, right, he did not retire.
And we love him.
Right.
Okay, so I think we do have some feedback, and that is that we would like to be able to hire the best candidate, and we should be making that decision as a board as to if we need to elevate that salary to get the best person, then that's a discussion that we need to have.
Yeah, Barbara, I would think that if you're interviewing somebody and, you know, you find you can't get anybody, okay, fine, we'll pay 75, we'll pay 80, we'll benefit this, we'll do this, we'll do that. And then we bring it to the board, the person, and
We'll
say,
do that.
this person wants $250,000. No, we don't want
Right,
that.
right.
You know, I mean.
I
So, you know, just
understand, Jeff.
expand
Yeah.
your,
We will.
and you know.
Since May.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
And-
since
and-
May.
It has.
It's August.
Yeah.
5 months.
Yeah.
And so.
Right.
Can we import someone from another state that
Well,
wants
you
to
have
move to
buy-
Florida?
You know, you have
Well,
to buy their
for
house.
a
and-
long time,
Moving
Amelia
expenses.
lived right on the island.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
was that,
Until they sold his house.
right, so that was
The
the
landlord sold it.
benefit
Right,
of
the
why,
landlord sold his house.
you know.
Yes.
Right. I'm sure that was part of
moved
his
out by
reason
it.
for wanting to leave
Right.
too, because he didn't wanna have to come, whatever.
Just let the board handle it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, but bring in
We will,
They will.
Yeah.
better
They
qualified
know-
candidates.
They know what
Yeah.
to do.
we will,
Yeah, they're out there.
yeah.
Okay,
I agree that we should be open to maybe paying a little bit more.
I was objective.
Yeah.
yeah. All right, all right.
Or wants to take.
Any other comments? Okay. All right, thank you. So moving on to new business, we have one last item here, and that is certainly some of the owners that have their properties for sale have inquired of the board as to whether we would have some kind of open house here, which I know has not been in the rules. However, it's something that we have the good fortune of having a realtor on our board. So I did ask Michelle if she could come up with what would be something we could try for a trial in terms of adding, you know, an open house. And I'd like to turn it over to Michelle to talk to us about that.
My sons are buying a house, so I'm talking to the realtor, you know, about our situation. And she says a lot of buildings on the island will specify 1 day a month having an open house. And I would just like to add, maybe we have 2 realtors, one in the unit, one in the lobby, guiding people through, or the owner in the lobby helping out. But, you know, on a Sunday, there's no one here. And that's, you know, we'd have to have a lot of cooperation with the owners and buzzing people in and all that stuff, signage. So I see both sides of it, you know. I know the realtor has Bill Stobert's unit for sale, and she's a little frustrated that she can't get people through. But in all honesty, you really don't sell a house during an open house.
Right.
I think that's happened once in 17 years, I think I've been doing it.
Right, you meet a lot of,
right.
you make
But
a lot of
it's-
contacts.
Yeah, you meet a lot of contacts
Right.
for the agent.
And that's, so that's,
Which is
But
good
we
for the
do
agent.
allow
Right.
broker tours, which brings agents through.
Right.
And that's coordinating with the building manager, opening the gate. So I see both sides of it. I don't know if you want to test 1 day a month, if it even
Just
is
do it
worth
once, let's try it once. and see.
Once.
I'm gonna ask
But I
why.
think you need
For
one.
25 years, we've been able to sell units, including at the bottom of the market in
Right.
2008 through
Sure.
2010.
Sure.
And the top of the market.
And the top of the market.
Sure.
and the top.
And we've been able to, and right now, we're in the market's in a
I
downturn.
just think sellers want to sell and they'll do anything.
The market's
to-
in, well, the market's in a
Right.
downturn. I'm not encouraging
No.
them to lower their prices.
Right,
But
right.
an
That
open house,
affects us.
open houses.
Don't
what
sell
does- What does it
houses.
sell in less than 2 being a real estate agent? Open houses don't sell houses, they get you future clients.
Yeah, pretty
Yes.
much. I mean,
So why
you
do
do
we-
have people that are here that like it, that have money, that will drive around. Oh, there's an open house. Let's go look, and maybe they'll like it. But the last couple of weeks, there have been a lot of showings here,
Well, good.
which is good.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I think the by
What's
appointment
happening with
sales are having, have our unit listed. and it's not listed down, but by appointment, I think that's just.
I think sales are picking up.
I think
We're
they are
seeing it.
too.
We had a very low time frame, and we're starting to see
And they will
sales
pick up
come in
even
now.
more if we get through hurricanes
Right.
in November.
Right.
There's ample time to sell.
Barbara, I would like to ask you, in the properties that you manage, how many of them do offer like an open house?
Well, you don't see many signs unless it's single family.
You see them at,
For condos?
yeah.
Not with a gated community.
We
I mean,
don't do, I think it's more the, well, no, it's not even that. A lot of the even two-story, like Commodore down the street from you, they have restrictions about when you can have open houses.
But they do allow them.
I'd say more the lower end condos, Cheryl, allow the open houses all the time.
Sunset
And the
Grill,
more, yes,
Apollo.
the more pricey the condos,
What
there's
does
more
what does our main
control.
competition do, which is Cape Marco? I consider them our main competition. They're priced at the same relative price as we are for the space, except we have private garages,
Right.
which makes us the competition. They don't have open houses.
Houses, no, you never see open
Yeah.
houses
No.
on the
Right.
bigger condos.
No.
No.
I see it both ways. I don't know.
Hey, Dave, Cape Marco is doing a riprap project.
And they're being sued because they're riffraff.
That's why
too
we
high.
want to do it.
I didn't say they're smart.
Keep up with them.
Gotta love that.
So I'm not hearing any real recommendation then from board members. So any other thoughts from Leonard, Ken, or Rick?
Well, I hear both sides as well. I mean, I'm fairly neutral on it. I can see when we're here on the weekend and there's no building manager
Yeah,
who is
and I
going to
don't
coordinate
wanna
the coming and going.
The gate.
How's that work?
Yeah.
I
They'd
mean,
have
how
to
does it work?
really coordinate with the owners if they're gonna.
And that ain't gonna happen.
That ain't gonna happen because there's no one
That's
here.
not gonna happen.
And I'm not sticking around.
Turn over real estate.
I think if you're gonna, board members gotta be responsible, is the responsible
Right, and I don't. I'm not
garage
gonna-
person of the day.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go. The open house for, there you go.
I think broker tours
I think
are
the ones that are permanently
fine.
here.
You know, they come in a group.
We're
not on the board.
I don't care. Just permanent residents.
You're being elected.
I think a broker tour.
Broker tours, they come in a caravan.
Right.
You know,
That's a
what the
good
property
and they
is
can,
like.
you know, if you have
Hey,
a,
Cheryl, it's impossible to hear.
yeah, a broker tour.
Okay. Yeah, I think we have, it's very difficult for those of us on Zoom calls to hear with everyone talking at once. So it sounds, I mean, I can't draw any consensus from what the comments are. I just know that at least one of the people that had their unit for sale has. But it's good to hear your comments, Joe, because I know you were just in the market. And I know, Ken, you have a listing. I don't know if there's anything you'd like to add.
I would just say I agree that there, again, I can't believe I'm agreeing with Dave again.
Twice in the same day.
All the years we've been here, the rule hasn't changed and things have sold.
Yeah.
You know, so I believe that we should maintain the policy that has been in place for at least 16 years, and I'm sure for the history of the building.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right. I think, Rick, I don't know if you've got a thought.
Well, I am swayed by some of Michelle's comments that that's not how you sell a unit or a house or anything. And it may have been Dave who said the complexities of it are kind of overwhelming to have open houses.
Yeah.
So, I might have been willing to try it for, a 2-month period or something just to see how it works, but it doesn't seem like it's worth it.
Yeah.
Well, I would probably vote no.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Personally, I think one of the best things that might help sell a unit is to be able to say that we have a really strong fortified shoreline. So, okay. Forget open houses.
On that note, let's wrap it up.
I think it's a wrap. So any other comments or questions from members of our
Just,
that are
we need
owners.
to talk about the, repair of 606's patch on their floor.
Oh, that's right. We
Special material.
left your report because Jeff showed up. So if you'd like to add something about that, Michelle.
You were talking to Gulfstream about it.
Right,
Yeah.
and I got you prices.
Yeah.
It's the material is
That's
not
right.
to
Yeah.
work with, and it's very expensive. The waterproofing that you have on the walkways. So in order to make it look consistent, the
Yeah.
product itself is over $2,000.
I think
if
we're gonna
remember
link
off the
it.
top of
Problem
my
on
head.
6?
What's the 6?
They had to open a section on a walkway when they did the post-tension repair.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
So
And it's
now
just
you've
a-
got a little block.
It's a patch, this page.
Yeah.
I say we paint.
Oh, in the picture, I
Yeah,
should go
I've gone
up
up
and
to
look
see it,
at
yes.
it, yes.
It is not just a little
Also,
patch.
Barbara,
If there's some kind of
on
other-
307, that's, their, stoop or whatever
Right.
it is really in bad shape. They've really messed it up with whatever.
Well, they had to open it up.
307.
307?
307 by me, right by me.
Oh,
Go up and go walk by
Okay.
there.
Oh,
and
well, I'll
it's,
go up and look
yeah.
before I leave, and
Yeah.
if you have time,
Yeah.
look at the other one. They'll do it, they just, the cost is.
Right. I think we need to
It's
find another
expensive.
product or something,
Well-
or paint it.
Supposedly.
Just so
You
it's
don't have
outside.
choice, that's the,
It's the
responsibility, right?
waterproofing, it's the waterproofing product that was used. It's like a 20-year product.
Right.
It's very expensive.
Right.
And what I'm told by the experts, I'm not, is that other products won't stick to it.
Right.
Now, if you want to just paint the little patch and find a color that matches, it might make it look a little
Oh,
bit
right,
better,
right,
but it's
better.
not,
Would be better.
it's not going to be the same as patching it with what you have down on those
Nor is
floors.
patching with what you have because the colors have faded over the years.
Right.
Well, you could do, you might as well buy enough and do the whole stretch
Oh,
over
wow.
the top again.
And when do you end the stretch? At the elevators? Is it a full floor? You know, that's the question.
Yeah,
How
I
much
know.
do you
I
have
say
to
we
do?
could paint the color.
Barbara, what was the total cost of that? And the
25,000.
problem was we couldn't buy just a small amount. Is that correct? We had to buy it.
Right, I think it was about 5,000 just to do the patch, because the product was over 2,000 just for a small, it's like a mixed product. It's not one can of something, you have to buy the whole system.
So it's a dilemma that we haven't solved yet. So I think the option, would we maybe try to get another company to look at it?
Well,
But
go to Marzuko, they're the ones that originally put it down, because they were the contractor you had after Irma, and that's when that work was done.
You know, I have a question. Aren't we painting next year?
Yes.
We just
This
Isn't that when painting comes up? I wonder if it makes any sense to do something along the line that Michelle said and just paint it for this year. Because next year, when we paint the building, we may have other areas that need to be repaired. And at that point, it might be cost effective to buy the $5,000 product because we need it in 2 or 3 other places. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's probably a good thought.
There you
So so I suggest maybe we look for a paint that matches at this time, and next year we'll address it with the painting of the building.
Sounds good.
Okay. Well, any other questions and comments from owners at this time then? No? Oh, yes.
I've been wanting to ask a question.
Oh, the whole meeting.
Ask Go ahead, quick.
This about Xfinity and Comcast. Does
Oh.
anybody else having, I heard that
Yes.
they came in on this side or
We've
something.
had horrible issues.
It's,
Really?
Oh,
yeah.
mine's fixed now. I didn't know.
It just blanks out.
Yeah,
Blanks
it
out.
pixelates.
Blanks out. Oh,
So it
ours
didn't resolve any. So you're still having pixelation?
We're having
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
all right, I'll get them back out.
Carol is too.
Carol,
I mean,
we're
it's-
on 701, where it's all over.
Yeah, okay, I'll call them.
Thanks.
I have a cell phone now.
Oh,
Yeah, Michelle, you might tell them it's a pretty universal.
I did, yeah, and
I
they told me they replaced the line from the street to the building, but
Tell me,
I'll tell them it didn't work.
Didn't take care
It
of it.
didn't work.
No, it did
TV
work.
just go off.
Okay.
For a while.
It'll go
And then
black,
it'll come back.
and
It'll be
sometimes
maybe
you
3 or
turn
4
on, and
seconds.
there's
and-
Mine, yes, mine has done that, come off, but I
Yeah.
just figured I'd wait 10 minutes, it comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
certain
Oh.
channels that have this, that,
Yeah.
it's ESPN, it's
Yeah,
all like the
yeah,
sports
yes.
channels, Wink, Wink.
Right, that happened to me too, but
Yeah.
I
Okay.
I just
I'll tell
figured
them
it was a
it's
bad
still-
something or
Thank you.
other.
Yeah.
No, it's,
Add to
I
your
did.
list.
I do have one other quick question.
Sure.
Carol, you skipped over hurricane preparedness,
Oh,
I
yes, that's
think.
important.
Oh,
And,
yes.
I'm not sure, I know we have some good documentation on it, but I don't think we ever, because there weren't very many electric cars at the time it was written, have we ever updated it to say no electric cars under the building during a hurricane?
Or bikes.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Because we're gonna get, could be flooded, could be bikes too. I know,
I thought you put that policy in place, that there are no electric
No.
We were
cars to
going
be
to, but we
allowed.
never did.
I don't think it happened.
I know, it was discussed.
It was discussed.
There are some people with fan blades, I noticed, that aren't here on their lanais and wreaths on their doors and doormats.
Yeah, I think it would be worth sending a letter out to owners, which I will do. And I will add
Responsibility to move.
no electric cars allowed in garages.
Yeah.
And the reason I sent you, the board, the memo I did,
Yeah.
was because the day before, Lisa was chatting with one of the two guys, and who said he knew nothing,
We
About
have,
the
we
policies,
have the
yeah.
whole, we have
You
the
do.
whole plan
but your guys don't.
that we'll start reviewing it with them when there's something that's out there.
There's like water shut-offs and
Right.
elevators.
Yes.
And we bring
and
stuff
flaps
upstairs
and
from
the
the
door.
I- I mean, I think since we're well into hurricane season, that it should be a training they have now,
Yeah.
not waiting until there's one on the way. So, I think that's crucial. So I will get a letter to owners, but as far as the building manager responsibilities, I think that Bowler needs to go over that with them as soon as possible.
You will.
And a lot of it's done by owners. We
Right,
bring the
yeah.
benches and the carts up to the
Well,
lobby.
Emilio did a lot of it.
And he did. He
But
did.
I
And,
mean, he
and
didn't leave a list
Margarita,
of what he
Margarita
did.
helped them a lot. She knows a
Yeah.
lot.
He did leave a list. He did.
Did he, do these guys have it?
Yes, they do.
They do.
Yeah.
Now they do.
Well, now they do.
I make motion to go to happy hour.
Yeah.
Hey.
Any last questions or comments?
Anything about it.
Okay.
I'm done.
From our Zoom audience, anyone have any questions or comment? Nope. Okay, then seeing none, I'm adjourning the meeting. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Oh, my gosh, I have to go to the bathroom.